She didn't even look at me when she walked past, just brushed my shoulder with the kind of quiet softness that feels accidental, but wasn't. Not with her. Not after everything. That single touch burned hotter than the arguments we never finished, more painful than the truth I finally learned. And as her perfume drifted behind her, familiar enough take, I felt the same old pull, the one I thought I killed the night I discovered her secret. She broke my heart. But she didn't take her ghosts with her. Tonight they follow her. She keeps pretending she's calm, that her world isn't moments away from collapsing into the mess she created. But her eyes, God, those eyes keep betraying her. The way they flicker toward me, then away, shimmering with guilt, fear, and something else, something she refuses to name. Something that should have died between us, but somehow still breathes in the space we share. She knows what I know. She knows what I'm capable of saying. And she knows that every lie she whispered to him, every promise she made in the dark, now beats inside my chest like a ticking clock. But I'm not here to destroy her. Not yet. I'm here to watch her unravel. She tries to smile, tries to steady her hands, but I catch the tremor she hides behind her sleeves. She can't mask that kind of panic. She can't hide the memory of the night I confronted her, when the truth spilled out of her like broken glass, sharp and unavoidable. There's a reason she can't breathe when I step closer. A reason she flinches when my voice murmurs her name, low and careful, reminding her of the intimacy she wasted on someone who didn't even know how to love her. A reason she looks at me as if I'm still the only one who ever really saw her. And maybe that's what scares her the most. Because tonight, I'm done protecting her. And the moment she turns around, eyes wide, lips parted, heart racing, she knows exactly what's coming. I'm about to reveal everything. And she can feel it. Right there, in the fragile silence between us, the story truly begins. She doesn't move when I step closer. Not really. She only tilts her chin up, just enough to meet my eyes, just enough to show she's trying to stay strong. But her breath stumbles, soft and uneven, and that alone tells me more truth than any confession she ever gave. "Why are you here?" she whispers. The question is brave, but her voice betrays her. It cracks at the end, like she already knows the answer and wishes she didn't. I don't touch her. I don't need to. The air between us is warm, charged, thick enough that just standing this close feels like a confession. I watch her swallow. Watch her fingers curl at her sides as if fighting the urge to reach for me. She used to do that, reach first. Now she doesn't know if she is allowed to want that again. "You know why," I say quietly. Her lashes flutter. A tiny, involuntary reaction. She hates that she still reacts to me. Hates that she still remembers the way my voice sounded when I loved her without doubt, without fear. But her eyes have always been terrible liars. "You shouldn't look at me like that," she murmurs. "Like what?" My voice lowers. She hesitates. The moment stretches, warm and trembling. "Like you still feel something." I let the silence answer for me. Her chest rises, a slow inhale, like the truth presses against her ribs until she can't hold it anymore. When I finally speak, it's softer than I intend. "And what if I do?" Her lips part, but no sound escapes. She steps back, only half a step, barely space at all, but the movement breaks something inside the air around us. She turns away as if distance will protect her, but her shoulders betray her again, lifting with tension, with longing she refuses to name. "You shouldn't," she says. "But you do," I counter. Her breast shudders. She turns her head slightly, just enough that I can see the outline of her profile, the tremble of her jaw, the quiet war happening behind her expression. "It doesn't matter," she whispers. "You know what I did." I move closer, slow enough that she feels it before she sees it. "It matters," I say. "But not the way you think." She finally faces me again. Her eyes glimmer, not with tears, but with a dangerous mix of guilt and want. And in that fragile moment, something in her softens, like she's seconds away from breaking, or reaching for me. The heat between us builds, quiet but undeniable. And we both feel exactly where this is heading. For a moment, neither of us speaks. The quiet between us isn't empty, it's thick, warm, trembling with all the things we're too afraid to let slip. She stands there, her fingers curling slightly as if she's holding something in place. Maybe her resolve. Maybe her guilt. Maybe the part of her that still reaches for me in dreams she'll never admit to. I step just close enough that our shadows merge on the floor. She notices. Her breath stirs, soft and uneven, and she whispers, "Don't come closer." But she doesn't move away. Her eyes flick down to my hand for half a second too honest, before she forces herself to look anywhere else. I can feel the battle inside her without her saying a single word. She wants the nearness. She fears what it will do. "What are you scared of?" I ask quietly. "You." Her voice is barely sound. "Or maybe me?" Her hand brushes mine. Not fully. Not intentionally. Just the softest graze of skin, a spark passing between us so real it almost feels like heat. She snatches her hand back instantly, pressing it against her chest like she's afraid of what it betrayed. "That's exactly why," she murmurs. "Why what? Why we can't do this again." But her voice breaks in the middle. She knows she's lying. And she knows I hear it. I take one more step, not touching her, not claiming anything, just close enough that she feels the warmth of my presence seep through the cracks she's trying to rebuild. "You think staying away will fix what happened?" I ask. She closes her eyes for a moment, as if steadying herself. "I think wanting you this much is already a mistake." There it is, raw, naked truth, trembling on her tongue. She looks up at me, and the emotion in her eyes is so heavy it almost knocks the breath out of me. We're close enough now that if I leaned in the slightest, our foreheads would touch. Close enough that I can hear the rhythm of her breathing, uneven and fragile. She lifts a hand, slow, hesitant, and for a second, it hovers near my face, like she's remembering every place she once touched. Her fingertips hover at my jawline, trembling. Then she pulls away, quick, pained, like the wanting burned her. "I can't," she whispers. But her voice isn't firm. It's breaking. And the way she looks at me, hungry, guilty, undone, tells me exactly what she almost did. What she still wishes she could. The longing hangs between us like heat you can almost touch. Neither of us moves. Because the moment we do, everything changes. The room seems smaller now. Every sound, the soft hum of the heater, the distant city outside, the faint rustle of her clothing, feels amplified. It's like the world has shrunk to this fragile bubble that holds only her and me, suspended in something raw, unspoken, impossible to ignore. Her eyes meet mine, and I see the storm she's been holding back. I see the nights she stayed awake thinking about us, the moments she pretended to forget, the weight of her secrets pressing down. And in that gaze I feel the pull I thought I'd buried, the one that has always drawn me to her. It's closer than I've ever been, and terrifying. "Why do we keep doing this to ourselves?" she whispers, voice trembling, barely louder than a breath. I step closer, careful. The air is electric between us. Her fingers twitch, like they want to reach, but hesitate, trembling just above my arm. My pulse hammers in my ears. I want to close the distance, to bridge the gap between what we feel and what we allow ourselves to show, but I don't. Not yet. She swallows, her gaze dropping for a moment, then shooting back up at me. Her lips part slightly. The word hangs, unfinished, raw, like a thread stretched to breaking. I don't speak. I can't. Everything I want to say is tangled in the way she looks at me, the way her chest rises and falls, the small catch in her breath when I move the tiniest fraction closer. Her hand brushes mine, not intentionally. A flinch, a hesitation, a friction that sparks through my skin like fire. We freeze, suspended. Every second stretches. Every heartbeat is a drum in the quiet. It feels like the world is holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable. "Do you still?" she whispers, and the question is half hope, half warning. I answer without words. I let my eyes tell her everything I've been holding back. Desire, frustration, regret, longing. My hand moves, an inch, a careful inch, toward hers. Our fingers hover, almost touching. It's electric. It's exquisite. It's enough to make us both ache. She leans slightly, almost giving in, almost closing the gap we've kept so meticulously. My own body wants it. Wants everything. But in that trembling, suspended moment, neither of us moves fully. And then silence falls over us, heavy, hot, full of everything unsaid. The moment is ours, even if it's just barely within reach. The rain tapped softly against the windows, a gentle percussion that matched the rhythm of our hearts. The room was dim, lit only by the warm amber glow of a single lamp, spilling light across her face and catching in her hair. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward us, drawn into the gravity of the moment, like the world itself was leaning in to witness what we had waited too long to admit. She stood close, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from her. Her breath fluttered in tiny whispers, brushing against my jaw, melting into me in a way words never could. My hand found her shoulder, not pushing, not claiming, just resting, a silent question she didn't need to answer. She shivered, not from cold, but from the electric pull between us, the current we had been denying for far too long. "I can't," she whispered, and I could hear the hesitation, the longing, the weight of every regret and secret. I leaned in, slow, deliberate, until her gaze met mine again. No words were necessary. Her eyes said everything: fear, want, love, surrender. Her fingers grazed my chest, tracing patterns that left sparks in their wake. My thumb brushed the curve of her hand, and suddenly, every wall we had built collapsed in the warmth of our shared breath. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. Our bodies spoke the words our mouths couldn't form. The brush of her hand on mine, the tilt of her head toward my shoulder, the way her cheek almost touched mine, each gesture was a confession, a revelation, a promise. The rain outside drummed a slow, steady rhythm, like applause for the silent symphony we had composed together. Her lips hovered near my ear, and I felt the warmth of her breath stir something deep inside me. My fingers lingered at the nape of her neck, not demanding, only offering presence, grounding us in the fragile intimacy of this suspended moment. She leaned closer, and for the first time, we let the closeness speak for itself. Every inhale was a confession. Every heartbeat a vow. Every soft shiver across her skin was a reminder that we had found our way back, even if only for this night. Time slowed, the world faded, and there was only this: the gentle press of her hand, the subtle tilt of her head, the unspoken understanding that we belonged here, together, if only in this fragile, perfect now. And in that moment, when her lips finally brushed the edge of my jaw, when our breaths melted into one another, and the storm outside whispered against the glass, it felt like the universe had paused just for us. The air was thick with longing, with love, with desire restrained only by elegance and restraint, and in the hush of that sacred space, we finally let go. Morning came softly, almost shyly, with pale sunlight spilling through half-drawn curtains. The room smelled faintly of rain and lingering warmth, a reminder of the night that had passed, so tender, so explosive in its quiet way. We lay apart, not touching, yet closer than either of us had been in months. The silence between us was dense, heavy with unspoken thoughts and the echoes of every whispered breath from hours ago. Her gaze drifted to the floor, tracing patterns only she could see, while I stared out the window, pretending the world beyond mattered. We both knew that what happened wasn't a solution, wasn't a clean slate, but it had shifted something irreversibly. Something in the way our breaths still synced, in the way the quiet between us felt shared. "I keep thinking maybe we shouldn't have," she murmured finally, voice low, as if afraid the walls themselves would judge her. "I know," I said. "But maybe we needed it. Needed to remember we still exist for each other." Her lips pressed together. She looked at me then, really looked, and in her eyes I saw remorse, fear, and something softer, something almost tender, like hope disguised in hesitation. The air between us shimmered with all the possibilities we never allowed ourselves to consider. A soft knock at the door startled us both. Neither of us moved immediately. Then it came again, firmer this time. She frowned, then rose, and I followed her gaze, my pulse quickening with a mixture of curiosity and dread. "Who?" she whispered. Before she could answer, the door opened slowly. A familiar face stepped in, someone from our past who knew too much, someone who had seen the cracks in our lives long before we admitted them. Their eyes lingered on us, and suddenly, the fragile peace of the morning felt like it might shatter. But instead of judgment, there was a knowing smile, a silent acknowledgement that life doesn't wait for us to be ready. That consequences exist alongside desire, and yet, somehow, the bond between us had deepened anyway. We exchanged a look, subtle and loaded, and for the first time that morning, I felt the connection between us solidify, not fragile, not fleeting, but real. Whatever this was, love, escape, or a collision of both, we had faced it together. And now, even with uncertainty knocking at the door, we knew that what we shared could no longer be denied. The afternoon sun filtered gently through the curtains, soft and golden, painting the room in a warmth that seemed to wrap around us like a quiet embrace. We sat close, shoulders almost touching, the last remnants of the storm inside us settling into something gentler, something deeper. Neither of us spoke at first. Words had already been said, confessions already spilled, but silence now held more meaning than any speech ever could. She leaned into me, and I felt the light pressure of her forehead against mine. A small, careful gesture, but it carried years of longing, regret, and newfound understanding. I closed my eyes, savoring the quiet intimacy, the way her heartbeat matched the rhythm of mine, tentative and steady at the same time. "I don't know what tomorrow brings," she whispered, voice soft and unsteady. "But I do know this. I don't want to forget this, us, ever again." I cupped her cheek gently, thumb brushing against her skin. "Neither do I," I said. "Whatever comes, we've found something real here. And sometimes that's enough." Her lips curved into the tiniest, almost shy smile. The tension that had haunted us for months, guilt, longing, unspoken words, seemed to dissolve in the warmth of the moment. There was peace in it, not perfect, not uncomplicated, but real. We stayed like that for a long while, foreheads pressed together, hands intertwined, letting the silence speak for us. Every small breath, every subtle movement, became a language of its own. A gentle promise that even if life complicated us again, this moment, the depth of connection, the spark of desire, the tenderness, would remain unbroken. Finally, she pulled back just enough to meet my eyes. There was a softness there, a trace of vulnerability, and yet a quiet strength. "Thank you for staying," she murmured. "I'll stay," I replied. "As long as it matters." And for the first time in a long time, we allowed ourselves to just be. Not perfect. Not flawless. But utterly, undeniably present with each other. The past still lingered, yes, but it didn't define us anymore. Only the warmth, the closeness, and the fragile, exquisite hope of what we had found together.